Now, some of you guys are going to think I have totally lost my mind. And even some of the largest investment firms like BlackRock see I'm the bad guy. I should stop driving. Hypocrites. Welcome back, guys. Hope you're doing very well. So one of my favorite topics is actually kind of the EV space, energy/oil, and how it fits into society have basically made me view the world in a certain way. Certain industries, certain views of the world. It's pretty revealing stuff. And the reason why I find it so interesting is because you can find literally all sorts of hypocrites. Now, part of the reason why I think so much hypocrisy is on display in this field is, for example, they use 250 tons of fuel per day. That's one day. That's equal to 80,000 gallons in one day. So if it's such an emergency, why is the cruise ship industry booming? Why is it allowed to continue? It just makes no sense. For example, one of my gas guzzlers uses about 50 gallons a month. That's 600 gallons a year. So that's when I start to think that something else is going on. It's confusing. Now, some of you guys might think I totally have lost my mind. But one of my favorite subjects at university and grad school was actually chemistry, especially advanced chemistry classes like organic chemistry. So in chemistry, you can't lie. But in math, you can lie. Statistics are a perfect example. Math itself can create virtual worlds like simulations, video games, AI, etc. All theoretical worlds modeled on the real world. But chemistry, on the other hand, can't be fake. So, why am I talking about chemistry? Because there's all this talk about carbon, how bad it is for everyone, for the world, the planet, for us. Unfortunately, we are carbon itself. We're a carbon-based life form. So if you look up carbon as an element, it has a really bizarre and kind of creepy, very creepy, coincidental numbers. It has 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. It seems a little wacky, but it's pretty strange. So is the road to hell paved with good intentions, i.e. carbon net zero? Maybe, I don't know. It's just pretty bizarre. So on Monday, a master grifter for the Nikola Company, which was an EV trucking company. The founder, Trevor Milton, a master grifter, was sentenced to 4 years in jail. This is the guy that famously rolled a dummy truck down a hill in a promotional video showcasing a so-called electric truck, basically carbon net zero kind of vehicle. All the rage. This guy had already been found guilty last year for misleading investors, basically lying about the company, grifting the green investors essentially. Anyways, he misled investors by claiming that he was making a lot of progress in the space, that he had built a truck from the ground up and also developed batteries from the ground up. All lies. And here is the magic of video editing, making it look like the truck is driving under its own power. Funny enough, it was just taking advantage of gravity rolling down the hill. So this guy was exaggerating his progress on EV big rigs and hydrogen-powered trucks. 4 years in jail, $1 million fine. But I gotta say, I do think it's a little harsh because so many of these companies, so many similar companies are grifting taxpayer dollars. They are taking advantage of basically completely subsidized companies. All these companies have been given billions and billions of dollars exaggerating their claims. But this guy gets thrown in jail. Why him? We're constantly told that we're running out of fossil fuels, that hydrocarbons are essentially ruining the planet, which as an avid nature lover myself, nobody wants that. So this Milton character maybe was just taking advantage of the space. He was a grifter taking advantage maybe of other grifters. When Nikola the company made its market debut in June of 2020, it had a higher market cap than Ford Motor Company, which is insane. At that time, it gave Trevor Milton a net worth of up to $4 billion. So the guy clearly was doing really well. But given how much money was thrown around to these EV projects, none of which would survive without government money. So the famous Hindenburg Group basically exposed the company as frauds, saying that they lied about the capabilities of their truck technology, and well, that sent all the shares plummeting, with Trevor Milton guy making all the rounds in the media and social media, YouTube, all over the place, basically saying he had an awesome, fully functional vehicle, but it was missing parts, it wasn't even drivable. But with all the money being thrown around from the government, and even some of the largest investment firms like BlackRock with their ESG stuff, but I wonder if these guys are just incentivized to make all these stupid claims. So this fellow was convicted of 1 count of securities fraud, 2 counts of wire fraud, and acquitted on an additional securities fraud. Funny enough, in 2021, he agreed to pay the SEC $125 million to settle a civil suit brought on by the SEC. Funny enough, BlackRock itself has been sued for misleading claims on ESG. ESG standing for environmental, social, and governance goals. So as it applies to vehicles and manufacturing, it's all aimed at achieving a net zero when it comes to carbon emissions. So Trevor Milton gave a speech at his sentencing, which was pretty strange, hoping that his speech might give him some leniency with the judge, saying that despite having amazing parents, he had a very difficult childhood, even pulling tissues out of a box, wiping his eyes as he claimed that he had Cherokee blood, that he was a quarter Native American, that his mother ended up getting cancer, that his father sold their home. Anyway, so this whole thing is pretty strange. So I think this field allows us to see a lot of hypocrites and a lot of grifters. We can see people like John Kerry flying with private planes all the way to desert countries where it's 140-degree weather, and they're using fossil fuels to what? To generate electricity to keep them cool. He flew to the UN climate change conference, the COP28, just recently, saying that all these countries need to put up trillions and trillions of dollars to combat the carbon emissions. It always seems a little strange. It always seems a little hypocritical. Bezos and the like sail the world in super yachts, basically half the size of a cruise ship. Basically what these people use in one day is equal to what I would use in a lifetime. So as we can see here, the top 1% emits 15% of the global carbon emissions. So to me, it just seems like constant fear-mongering by the very people that seem to be floating around the world in super yachts. Super yachts the size of cruise ships. But they all seem to have a problem with me using up 500-600 gallons per year. See, I'm the bad guy. I should stop driving. Hypocrites. All right, guys, I just wanted to do a quick video on this guy because the space is very interesting. It's filled with a ton of characters, all driven by their own agendas. All right, guys, well, thanks for spending time with me. Please don't forget to smash the like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.
Security.
What is worth more, art or life? Is it worth more than food? Worth more than justice? Are you more concerned about the protection of a painting or the protection of our planet and people? The cost of living crisis is part of the cost of oil crisis. Fuel is unaffordable to millions of cold, hungry families. They can't even afford to heat a tin of soup. Meanwhile, crops are failing. Millions of people are dying in monsoons, wildfires, and severe drought. We cannot afford new oil and gas. It is going to take everything we know and love.